Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Tarot. Today we are unboxing a surprise gift, the Tarot de la Fuerza. If you have been staying tuned and watching my unboxing videos, you'll know that I got this as a free gift when I got my Pablo Robledo deck. So I'm kind of keen to find out more and to learn a bit more about it. So stay tuned as we unbox it together. Welcome back. So first of all, a big, huge thank you goes out to Anna at Magia Libros Arcana for this little freebie and extra. It really means the world to me. I will be reviewing this honestly, and I will be giving my initial impressions as I get them, so I hope that's okay. But thank you very much for it. So in my previous video, I kind of made mention that I thought Fuerza meant like strength, and then I kind of doubted myself. Actually, I was dead on. It is strength. So this translates to the tarot of the strength. So I wanted to have a quick look at what was said online about it and to find out a little bit more about it, because I have, other than seeing it kind of on the website, I haven't really seen much about it or know much about it, so I don't really know what is in the box and what to expect. So let's take a quick look at it. So let me drop you down. Here it is on Magia Libros Arcana's website. I'm sorry if my pronunciation of the Spanish is really bad. I am relying on some holiday Spanish at best, as well as some kind of basic Latin. So this is the Tarot de la Fuerza. I think the Argentinian Spanish pronounced that slightly different. Fuerza, either or. So here it is. It's 2,801 Argentinian pesos, which works out at the moment on today's exchange rate. It works out around about 22 to 23 Great British pounds and around about 25 to 26 euros. So it's not bad. It's a pretty well priced deck. They have a very short sentence here. That roughly kind of says Tarot of the Strength is illustrated by Coni Curi. I'm guessing that is an Instagram link or an Instagram follow, and edited by Mandragora. I believe that Mandragora is the press arm, the publishing arm of Magia, because if I just drop you down to the box, it kind of says here Mandragora Libros Arcana, very similar to the website. So either it was a previous previous name of the company, or whether it's the publishing arm of the company. I'm not sure. Cool. So it's kind of roughly says compra, buy yours now and enjoy the magic of these major arcana. So one of the things I have found out about it is that it is a major arcana only deck, but it's actually 23 cards because they've put an extra card in. So if you read major arcana only, this is on the cards. Or alternatively, if you just want to mix up this major arcana with another minor arcana, which I'm all for, why are we not mixing decks up? Then you could do that. I'm going to talk about mixing decks up later. So the other place I found it on was this Resellers, which had just a little bit more of a blurb. A little bit more expensive because it's going through a resellers and it's out of stock here, so I don't mind kind of splashing it over. This, because it's a bigger block of text, I quickly did a bit of a translation. So this is not me translating directly. So it kind of roughly says that the Forced Tarot is the first deck illustrated by the genius of Curi. It is composed of 23 major arcana, following the order of the Marseille deck, thank heavens, but with a particular addition that is the duplicity of the madman. I think that's they've translated it as del loco. That would be the fool, or the fool, or le mat in French tarot. Edited by Mandragora Libros, this deck keeps within it the personal history of the artist with each arcanum, and it is an edition that exceeds the expectations of all who come into contact with it. The first edition of the deck sold out within the first month, leaving the public in love with the story of the cards told and the mystery of its elements. The Forced Tarot is now in its second edition, and the magic is still intact. So, some high praise indeed. Let me just do that so that you can see it over my face, for those people that do read Spanish and can kind of get a better translation than that. So that's where what this deck is about. So we are expecting a blanco y negro, black and white deck, with a double limit, a double full card on it, and a major arcana only set. Cool. Okay. So let us take a quick look inside. Here we go. So the box is the envelope-y type, which I don't mind. It's not my favourite, as you'll know from my previous video. Got a quick sneak look in on that side there. You see, it's black and white to mimic the deck inside, and the star is been done in a silver leaf, a silver foil. You can kind of see this on the Magia's website because it's kind of glinting. You see that kind of blue there. Yeah, it's kind of just shining off the surface. So yeah, here we are. Coni, Curi, I do not know. I don't know anything about them. I'll have to kind of check them out on Instagram. Anyway, so let's give it an open. As always, let's start with the little white book first. Nice little white book, folded, stapled down one side like a booklet. Pretty well done. Okay, so page quality's nice, printing's good, it feels quite substantial. It feels like I could use this every day and it not fall apart. Those people that kind of do watch me often might kind of know I've got this thing about perfect binding, the kind of the glued binding kind of versions of the little white book. They're great, but not if you're learning the tarot, and you're going to be referring to it a lot, because every single time you open it you weaken the spine and eventually those pages will fall out. So seeing a stapled booklet may not look as fancy as a perfect binding, but it's going to last longer. Okay, just my personal preference. So it is mostly, is it all in Spanish or is it a little bit in English? No, so it's all in Spanish, which is not too much of a problem nowadays. We do have Google Translate at the ready. It looks like each one is illustrated by kind of like a poem, or a kind of verses. ¿Cuál es la función del óvulo? Is that egg? What is the function of the egg? So they're kind of mystery poems by the looks of things. They're not rhyming as far as I can see. So yeah, so that'd be quite nice to read when you've translated it. I think it might be quite a good kind of immersive, almost story. The pictures on the left hand side are nice and clear. So the pages are good. There's not much I can kind of comment about here because my Spanish is not good enough to just translate this willy-nilly off the page. If you guys want to be here until the end of the week, but it's pretty good, and I think I will end up translating this and kind of just putting it through an online translator just to kind of get to grips with this. I'm tempted to kind of do a translation and shove it on Patreon, but I'd have to kind of get the publisher's permission to do that. So that's where that is. Let's take a look at the cards, something that is universal because it's symbolism, the universal language. So these are pretty thick. This kind of feels like if I was doing fortune telling in the 1800s, this is the kind of deck that I'd expect to use. You see how the edges are really quite rough. It's also almost kind of got this. I can just kind of see like these little ridges, almost like where they've been popped out of the kind of main printing card. So it kind of feels like an old rough deck, which is quite nice. The cardstock is thick. It's quite nice. I can see from the edge of the card that it is actually a composite card. I think that's made out of a couple of different layers. If you can see that from this one. Excuse my dirty fingernails. So it's a composite card. I think it's a 3-layer card. I think it's front, back, and then a middle. The cutting has gone from the back to the front if you're a Faro shuffler, and the back has got the same kind of silver leaf design and motif. I'll get onto that in a second. But the thickness of the card, you can kind of see that it's pretty thick compared to, it is thicker than the Veritable Tarot de Marseille that I standardly use, and I don't know whether it is. Do you think it's thicker than the Modern Witch deck? Yeah, probably. So it's quite thick. That's the art card, just the front cards. That is just kind of an introduction to the deck, and here we are with the actual deck. So first thing I note is the artwork. You can see that even the lettering and even everything else has been hand drawn and lined. The quality of the line is of someone using like a black drawing line marker. You can kind of just see the slight inconsistencies around. I am a fan of that. I quite like seeing something that's not so perfect, as you will know from my other unboxings. So you can kind of see that someone's actually mocked up the whole design on card or on paper and then scanned it in and then just digitally mastered it a little bit. There is a couple slight printing inaccuracies across the card. You can see the top here and a couple of splodges across the side. I think that is from the printing rather than from the actual graphic. But still looks pretty nice. It is a matte finish, a matte varnish finish, so it's not so glossy, and it is obviously black and white. The back, let's just have a quick look at the back. It is obviously the star, as I mentioned, and then this kind of radiating out symbol that is kind of similar to the packet. I quite like it. It's nicely reversible, so if you read reversals you won't know before you turn the card over, which can be a bit of a problem. It's like, the next card is reversed. How did you know? Are you psychic? No, the back is not reversible. But this one is, so you don't need to worry about that. So here we go. El Loco, the Madman, or in kind of Western Tarot, the Fool, and in French Tarot, Le Mat. You can kind of see that he's kind of mocked up as this medieval jester. face in the mirror is interesting, but yet no face here. So yeah, nice drawing. And this is the second Madman El Loco. This is more similar to the Fool card or Le Maitre card in the Marseille Tarot. You can see, instead of having his walking stick like an angle, I think it is in the Marseille, he's got it straight, and he's got the little dog / cat, depending on who's interpreting the symbol, next to him here. I like the face of the Fool here. He's quite a nice face on the Fool card. And I like what they've done to the zero here, the null. It's kind of almost like a little sun or a little shining egg. And this is a nice touch. This looks like kind of like a bag of magic, or like a bag of chaos, which is how I'd kind of interpret it. You know, the Fool is chaotic. It's kind of madness. It's unmanifested chaos. It's what is before the beginnings of an idea. It's just that kind of crazy artist Salvador Dali-esque kind of insanity. So yeah, I'd kind of read that as almost like a bag full of possibilities, a bag full of chaos infinite. Cool. So nice. Maggio or Mago, I'm not quite sure how they pronounce this, but this is the magician anyway. We can see a very ceremonial style magician here, as above so below, the infinity sign in a ring of stars behind him, and we can kind of see the letter Aleph. I don't know whether they are going to use all of the Hebrew associations to letters we will see in later cards. And they are using the kind of, I don't know whether these are generic or they've specifically taken. They look like they could have been directly taken from the Lemagitton, the Lesser Key of Solomon, or yeah, especially this kind of long symbol. If it is just based, he's done a very good job of kind of capturing their style. We've got the 4 elements at the top. We've got the all-seeing eye in a triangle above. Once again, faceless. I don't know whether this is going to be a theme in this deck. Faceless people, and the face is the same as the bag of the Fool. This kind of spiral of stars, but very slight. Unus Mundus, the unity of the earth, single world. Dare Credera. Just so, yeah. Okay, so, and we've got a leaves and garden ring around the side of him. Here we have La Papissa, the Papess, the female pope. They've gone for that route instead of the high priestess, which, you know, they said it was a Marseille based, so I'm kind of glad. But they have taken some of the imagery from the Rider Waite Smith rather than the Marseille. I would say that this is more similar to the Rider Waite Smith than I would with the Marseille. The book here is for all to reveal. It's not part hidden. It is basically shown, which is a very interesting interpretation of this card. The moon is in its points up format, demonstrating that she rules over all of the sublunary world, or she is a master of lunary powers, i.e. intuition. We've got a book here that, or if it's going to zoom in, I'm looking at the screen as it's zooming, so I can't read it until you guys do. There you go, just about. So it kind of says Omnia, with the A as a Greek delta, Omnia being everything, all, and it's got like general symbols on it, and I can make out the 4 elements on the left hand side, the yin and yang symbol, the sun and moon symbol, And then on the right hand side I can make out the Venus and the Mars symbol, and Taro, Taro, which is the four-lettered word of tarot that like French occultists went a bit mad over, because it can be reformed into rota, the wheel, and various others. So there's been some good research into the deck. The Imperatrice, the Empress, exactly the same in both the French and the modern tarot. We've got the Venus Shield, once again making more reference to the Rider Waite Smith deck than to the Marseille deck, and then it's got the Rider Waite Smith crown. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 with the 12 stars. So it's accurate to the Rider Waite Smith, the 12 stars of Heaven's 12 stars of the Zodiac. If you don't know these symbols, check out my Magia Arcana series. Go through it. It talks about the numbers, it talks about the symbols, and it talks about these kind of more geeky elements of tarot reading. So it's well worth a watch. So if you're looking at me and going, where the hell is he getting that from? It's all in there. I'm going to start going a little bit faster now through these cards, because I'm kind of giving a mini lesson at the same time, and it's already up. Right. So it's nice. I quite like this kind of world garden view, and this kind of plant life that's kind of taken over behind it, and it's got the scepter with the cross. The cross is inside the circle, which is an interesting difference, so I will interpret that symbol. The cross is sometimes seen as kind of the material of the spiritual world, or things that are boundless, and then when within the circle it would be the spirit, the life of the earth, the life. So it's talking about kind of life force embodied in the world. So here it's talking about the fecundity of nature. Yeah, really easy. But nice. It's good symbolism there. That like I said, it's like I may not be able to read the Spanish book, but symbols are universal. So it's, even if you're not a Spanish speaker and you do not want to sit down and interpret this is all just based on symbolism that I talk about in the Magia Arcana series. So you will be able to understand this with a little bit of practice. So here we are, the Emperor. It's got Aries here. Aries will be the Rider Waite Smith association. So once again, taking from that school of thought rather than the Marseille, but all right. It's got the Empress's eagle and the Emperor's eagle from the traditional tarots, both on the same card. So it's taken those elements and put them here, which is interesting. Emperor is looking left, like the Marseille deck, rather than the Rider Waite Smith. Pretty nice. I quite like this kind of stone walling and this very square shape, because this is number 4, so solid earth. Nice. El Papa, the Pope, or the Hierophant in the RWS, the Rider Waite Smith decks. This is so papal. It's not so surprising that this would come out of a Spanish-speaking artist, if Curi is, because I don't know them. But this is kind of like almost like the ace cards in traditional tarot. This kind of arm that manifests something, and then this is the Papal Cross, the 3-layered cross, and these are the papal keys, the keys of St. Peter that started the Vatican and the papacy. So it's very, very strong almost on the Catholic front here, but I quite like it. It's a lot less symbolism to interpret than ordinary kind of tarots, but it's clear what it is. Las Enamoradas. My Spanish is so bad. The enamored, the lovers, yeah. So here, interestingly, okay, so there's a few things. Firstly, it looks like 2 ladies, although this could be a gentleman with very long hair and a very shapely bum. But that I'm going to interpret as 2 ladies. So that's really nice, because it lends into that LGBTQIA plus interpretation that is becoming more and more important in tarot. But if you could read this as a woman in love and telling her best friend, and they're kind of dancing because they're very excited, either or interpretation. We've got the male and female kind of triangles here. In interpretations of this card, they are normally the elemental signs, the fire and the water. But so we've got the kind of combining of opposites in this card, which is interesting. We have this arrow being shot down from Cupid's bow, similar to more to the Marseille than the Rider Waite Smith, where the Rider Waite Smith is more of Saint Michael emerging from the crowds. So it's quite nice. Then the other point, obviously, is yes, a woman that doesn't have to shave her armpits to make her look like a prepubescent child. Woo! I mean, I say that, and I know that I may get criticism, but I'm kind of a big believer that you shouldn't have to do something with your body just to be socially acceptable. So it's nice to see like depictions of women that aren't exactly the same all the way through, like hairless, thin, shapely, perfect, perfect inverted commas. So that's the reason why I'm applauding it. It's not because I mean that every woman has to do it. It's not like a demand from a man. It's more of like, well done for depicting something that's slightly different from the norm. Cool. The evil hated comments averted. We can go back to the tarot. The El Cardo, the chariot. El Cardo, I think, would be talking about the chariot. We've got the zodiac symbols on the braces of the horse. We've got the sun and the moon ruling. So we've kind of got the oppositions, and we've got the arms of the charioteer here underneath the crescent moon. So yeah, you can still interpret that as your standard definitions. You're kind of combining opposing forces to drive forward, controlling instincts and desires in order to move forward. Willpower, and so on and so forth. Victory. La Justicia. So here we have Mercury and Sulfur. So we've got very almost alchemical symbolism on this card. We have the two entwining snakes, duality, harkening back to the Garden of Eden. We have the Libra symbol on the sword being, the scales, the zodiac sign of the scales. I think we're still talking Rider Waite Smith associations, the Golden Dawn associations, but it's nice, it's clear and to the point. The Hermit. I won't keep subjecting you to my bad Spanish pronunciations. Candle held, once again, this faceless hood with the stars and the universe inside. We've seen this now a number of times. I like it. The issue that I have is that there's a computer game, I think, with magicians that have like their faces as stars or the universe, I think. If I'm right, I'll pop a little kind of picture up there in the corner. So I do keep thinking of this, but it's still beautiful imagery. The Wheel of Fortune. Here we go. This is Rider Waite Smith kind of style. Taro, Taro. We've got the elemental signs here. Well, it's more alchemical signs here. We've got the elemental signs around this corner. I'm not going to bother with the Latin on that. Le Fuerza. So this is the card really that the tarot is kind of named after. This is the Tarot of Strength. This is the Strength card. It's a nice card. We've got the Rider Waite Smith infinity symbol here. She's wrestling with the lion. This is an interesting thing. It kind of makes me think of initiation ceremonies. It makes me think of female initiation ceremonies where like they put one boob out, one boob in kind of thing. So it makes me think of that. And then are these olive branches the kind of the peace symbol? Maybe. El Colgado, the hanged man. We've got what looks like an Odin kind of figure, don't we? Because he's dipping his hand in almost like as if to snatch the runes up. We have the traditional cross-legged and one arm behind as the Marseille tarot, but we've got this arm that's going down in order to kind of do it. We've got this beautiful ribbon that almost mimics the end card, the world, wrapping around quite beautifully, and then we've got this tied on and a cross branch. So we're missing the two branches up the side, which would be very, very Marseille, which sometimes makes a reference to the 12 disciples because of the 12 knobs on it, the 6 on each. The Muerta, the death card. So they've chosen to name the death card, which isn't very in tradition of the Marseille. It's more Rider Waite Smith, but anyway, they've well, I suppose the No Blade does name it, so you could say it was taken from that, but I'm seeing it as a little bit more Rider Waite Smith. Memento Mori, yeah, very famous phrase. I don't really need to say much about that. There's an interpretation of this card. I'm only mentioning this because I haven't actually uploaded this. The original Memento Mori was about the legend of a soldier coming back from battle, having conquered his victims, and cheering very, very happily. And then someone from the audience or the viewers kind of said, Memento Mori, remember too that you'll die. And it was supposed to be that kind of important and significant statement that we're all mortal, we all can die, and it's just because you're victorious this time doesn't mean that you'll be victorious next time. And this kind of recognise also that you will die. There's this kind of recognition that we are all human and we are all going to die. So they've depicted that in this card. The Templanza. So this is the Temperance. We have once again these symbols that feel Solomonic. This I do not recognise. I'm not an expert on the Solomon kind of grimoires, but these look more along the lines of artistic than real. But we do have the Leo and the Sun sign here. Once again, I think that this is Golden Dawn references, and we've got the fire and the water symbols on the arms, so it's balancing between two elements. And I love these two wings. This is really beautiful artistry. This kind of wing that goes up and this wing that goes down and wraps around. It's got a very nice dynamic kind of flow to it. El Diablo, lovely. Yeah. Inverted pentagram here. Some people see that as a satanic or evil or negative. What it means to me, and I kind of make mention of this in the PAP video, the 5th card in the Magia Arcana series, go take a look at it, is that it's material over spirit. So it's materialized. The material becomes more important than spiritual development. So the devil here is about material gain and the material world and the physical world and the physical pleasures and the physical things. We have the alchemical symbol for sulfur because it is the fiery burning element. Sulfur is pits of burning sulfur we kind of attribute to hell. It's those kind of references. You could almost scry with the shapes that are these shading shapes on his jacket. This to me looks like almost like a little kind of animal, a little squirrel or something. So you could try and see shapes in this if this card came up to kind of further the divination purposes. I like the hands on the hips. It makes it almost slightly camp. It's like, oh, have I got a story to tell you? It's that kind. So it does make it a little bit camp, which I don't think it was intended, but it's kind of campy and fun. Le Tour, so they've gone with the tower rather than the House of God. Interesting, once again, more towards the Rider Waite Smith than the Marseille. We've got this lightning tower bolts coming down, which is a little, a bit of a mixture of both, I suppose, and the tower kind of going. He's got rid of the people, and we see the stars from the hoods of people inside the tower. La Estrella, the star. So we have, this is beautiful, I like this. This very figure of eight, kind of, she's almost like hopscotching in this poured water here, where the temperance pours one from the other, the star pours the water out, and it's really quite nice. He's done 7 stars with this this one that's very similar to the Marseille style. So he's got these 7 stars, which are kind of the 7 luminary bodies, the planets basically of historical astrology, traditional astrology, and then we've got the 8-point star, which is halfway between matter and spirituality. La Luna, here we are with the moon. Interesting choice here. It has put the border on, you can see as a dotting, but he's kind of like gone beyond it. I can't recall, yeah, he goes beyond it on other cards, but this is just so much so. Really beautiful. We've got one, oh, there's the other. Can you see it? Took me a second. So I was just about to say we've only got one dog, like more of a wolfy dog, but no, we've got one here. Look, he's hidden. He's a little black scaredy dog. I love him. I would have him on a t-shirt. Just give me that on a t-shirt, and I would be very happy. We've got the crayfish. For want of a better term for it, the Cancerian crayfish jumping out of the water here to say hello to the moon. Hello, moon. And we've got the wolf howling towards the moon. The moon's beautifully done. It has these radiations that are similar to the backs of the tarot that we'll recognise. These trees are really beautifully done. This is a lovely card. If I could kind of point out one card in this deck that I think is pretty show-stopping, it would probably be this card so far. It's it's full on. The whole lot is designed. Every part of that space is used. There's surprisey elements, and the textures across it all slightly different. So I like that. El Sol. This is the sun. We have some slight differences here. So we've got this lovely smiley sun, beautiful smiley sun, the sun symbol, and then they're kind of almost doing like the ET phone home kind of symbol, or the Sistine Chapel, gods to man kind of thing. So this is slightly different. They're kind of poking the sun symbol. There is a hint that this is a binary gendered card, like female and male. It's ever so slight. You can kind of see that this one seems to have slightly male genitalia. The other one seems to be on the more female side. That's nitpicky. I don't know whether that's intended. It could just be the way that they're sitting on the left, and so on and so forth. And we've got these bright sunflowers just to move it away from genitalia. So yes, we've got these big, huge sunflowers, which is very solar. So yeah, nice. The judgment card, El Ucio, would it be Y or Husio? I said I promised to stop doing it, but I just can't help it. We've got these decapitated hands, these floating hands, reaching up. One's coming out of this kind of boggy black pit tar, and instead of seeing the angel's face, we just see his wings and the trumpet coming from underneath it. And this is kind of very St. Michael, you know, the cross here, trumpet. And if this was coloured, this would be red, like the Golden Dawn tarot. So this is a little bit more along the lines of the Golden Dawn. We've still got the 3. You know, I think the traditional card has 3 people rising up. I'm going to check that because I don't want to. Sometimes the tarot plays tricks on our minds. Yeah, there you go. Yep, so we've got 3 hands instead of 3. 3 people. And then let me find it in this deck as well. There we go. Yep. So, I mean, it might be me being nitpicking because it's, you know, that these 2 cards are pretty similar. So, you know, saying that this is more like one than the other is really nitpicky. If I was to choose it, I'd probably go along the lines of this, just because of the cloud style and the wing style, and it's just not this circular cloud parting. But that is really nitpicky. It's not, you know, it's not clear enough to kind of say that it's one or the other. El Mundo. Here we go. The world card. Very typical. We've got the 4 suits of the minor arcana dotted around. We have a woman dancing with that beautiful wrap that we also saw on the Hanged Man, which I kind of love. And the other really interesting thing, and I don't know whether it was intentional or whether it's non-intentional. So here we have the world card number 21 or 2-1. And on the Hanged Man, we've got this beautiful wrap, and it's 1-2. So there's this mirroring in the numbers as well as the imagery. This one's upright, this one's reversed, this one's wearing a wrap, this one's reversed. So I don't know whether that is intentional. I don't know whether he has intended to do that. But if he has, it's really clever, and it's really a beautiful way of linking tarot cards together to kind of create these combined meanings and these combined messages. And I kind of refer to it as mirroring, when you kind of use the same symbol through the cards. It's kind of like poetry. It kind of has these imagery rhymes going through the deck, so that you kind of see this image, and a few cards later you see that image again, and it's just slightly different. And it's kind of that transformation of those symbols going through the deck. That's kind of like poetry. It's visual poetry. So I love it if he did intend to do that. If he didn't, just lie and say that you did. So that's what I'm thinking of with that card. So yeah, we've got the 4 cardinal signs of the zodiac there that start the seasons. Actually, I lie. They're not the cardinal. They're the fixed signs, because this would be Aries. It's not. It's Taurus. so ignore me there. Fire, water, air. Yeah. So we've got the 4 elements in the astrologer signs as well. The 4 suits, as I said, and we've got the two wands that she's carrying. So she's not carrying the kind of the vial that I think she's only doing in the Rider Waite Smith. She's kind of got like a little tiny lembic. We've got the Ouroboros, or the Ouroboros, depending on how you want to pronounce it, the snake biting its own tail as a sign of infinity, and almost like the original symbol is the 0, the null, the nothing, the chaos, the all of the universe, the unity of the universe in 0 and 1 in itself. So there we go. That is all of those cards. As I said, the edges are quite rough. I quite like that. I quite like that kind of feel of oldie worldy fashion kind of, this size of the cards is the only thing that I forgot to do. Let me just compare it against some standard sizes. So this is the Rider Waite Smith here. You can see it's pretty much bang on the same size. Yep. So they are of similar size. So this will be obviously bigger than the Pablo Robledo deck that I got yesterday and looked at yesterday. As sizes, you're looking at, just because some people like to know before they purchase things, we're looking at about 7 centimeters. It's 69 millimeters, and about 12 centimeters. It's actually around about 119 millimeters. So if you're looking for a specific size, or like you prefer one size over the other, that's the size of that deck. Cool. Oh. So what do I think of this deck? It's a nice deck. It's lovely. I quite like the thickness of the cards. The printing quality could be improved. There was a few smudges on it, and some people are going to think that the cut is not as smooth and as slick as some of the other published. It is just a Major Arcana +1 deck, so it would require someone to be able to just read the Major Arcanas only, which is relatively easy, but some people prefer the whole deck. You could always pair this with a Minor Arcana from another deck that you do like using, so that shouldn't be a problem. And because it is the same size as the Rider Waite Smith, you could totally combine it with the Rider Waite Smith Minors. The thickness will be different, so shuffling them together might be an issue, but you could always read the Major Arcana and then lay over the Minor Arcana at the top, or vice versa, or do something like that with keeping them separate but using them in the same reading. So that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Like I said, the printing quality issues are just mostly the little tiny splodges, but that's permissible. The deck itself, I like how it is like almost freely drawn. It is a drawn deck that has been scanned, digitally touched up, and then printed. There's not an awful lot of that touching up. They've not perfected all of those lines, which I'm happy that they haven't. The symbolism in the cards is nice. There's a lot of symbolism in the cards, and they have definitely thought about how to demonstrate the interpretive meaning of the cards for divination. It is not just an arty deck. Someone hasn't just kind of went, I'm going to design a tarot deck and just done it as an illustrative artist. There is obviously a background there in the occult that they have drawn on for the meanings of those cards. There is a little bit of mirroring that I've spotted on my first look through, that kind of using the symbols from previous cards and drawing them on the other cards, which I love. I think that works really well, and I think that is something that really shows someone's thought about the cards and the card design. I don't know how these will read. I think that they will read relatively easily. Even if I cannot read the booklet because it's in Spanish, but I think I'll be able to read it relatively easily. The major question mark, I wouldn't really call it a criticism because it's going to depend on what kind of reader that you are. The imagery is more based, I would say, in my personal first impressions on the Rider Waite Smith deck. The ordering may be of the Marseille, and there is definitely some cheeky references to the Marseille through it, but I would not say that it is a Marseille deck because there's more symbolism from the Rider Waite Smith that I saw than the Marseille deck. So if you are a Rider Waite Smith deck reader and you like that style of tarot and you like the symbolisms, this might be more on your cup of tea than if you are a diehard Marseille fan and you only buy French and Italian traditional tarots. Cool. So I hope that's been helpful. Once again, I would like to give my heartfelt thanks to Anna at Magia Libros Arcana for kind of sending me over this deck. I if you do watch this, I hope that I have reviewed it as honestly and as wonderfully as I could do. Please, if you have any questions about this deck or I've not covered anything, please just put a comment below. I will reply to it, and if there's enough of them, I will do another video about these. I'm going to do, as I always do with all the decks, I'm going to do a private reading with these for my Patreon guys. So I'm going to show these in action, as it were, by kind of shuffling them over and doing a couple of spreads with them to see how they play and how they read. I think that they're going to read pretty well because they're quite storytelling wise and they're pretty easy to read. So if you like that, if you would like to see these cards in action, go over to my Patreon. The Patreon link is in the description below, and see me sometimes goof up over using new cards that I'm not used to using, and kind of getting used to those. So thank you so much for your time. I hope this has been helpful, and I hope this has made you more interested in the Tarot de la Fuerza. Thank you for your time. Take care. Bye.